All right, Purdue is back at Mackey Arena in a bounce back spot after the loss at Nebraska. And more importantly, Card, this is some big news. They are honoring the 50th anniversary of the 1974 NIT champions. It's a big moment for Purdue's program and their fan base. Are you excited for this?
Sorry, quick prayer for Penn State. They're in a very, very tough spot right now, having to play this Purdue team after losing on the road in Nebraska. But yeah, I have fond memories of that 74 NIT team. I mean, classic story of a group of guys that just one fateful night came together after a loss in Mackey and just said, you know what, we're gonna make a run at this thing, fellas. We're just gonna give it our all and see what happens. And that turned into an NIT banner. And that's something that you celebrate, you should hold on to forever.
You're in 10 out of 10 form after your loss last night. I didn't expect that from you. I give you so much credit for it. Yeah, I'm making jokes because I make jokes. Sorry, Purdue fans. I make jokes. It is what it is. I make jokes at everybody's expense, including my own program's expense right now. But the reality of this is this was a different time, a different era where the NIT had a lot more importance than it does now. It is still objectively hilarious that the basketball account for Purdue is promoting, celebrating the 50th anniversary of an NIT championship. I'm sorry, some things with that program crack me up. But if you look at the picture of this team, there is a giant. That's the thing I took away from this. They got the team photo here. Whoever number 12 is, got a real nice looking haircut. He's massive, Card. He looks like he's about 7'3" back in whatever year that would have been, 1974, which transitive property means he was 7'8" today. I'm really
Well,
impressed
that's
by
how it
this.
works.
I think that's how it works. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I actually want to see this picture.
Yeah, you're gonna
Oh
want to
yeah.
jump right in. Big man.
Oh yeah. Are they wearing belt buckles?
It does look like that, doesn't it?
What the hell?
Hey, you've got to celebrate the belt buckle championship, the great 1974 NIT run. Anyways, okay. Sorry, jokes aside, you believe Purdue is going to destroy Penn State here. Tell me why.
One, this game is at Mackey. Two, Purdue is still one of the best teams in the country. Three, Penn State is one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. And four, they're coming off of loss, and I feel like they're going to be motivated to come out in this one and absolutely just run over them. I think
Are
this
they
is going to get very,
still
very ugly.
are they still the number one team in the country? You said one of. They were the number one team in the country before the loss in Nebraska, but all the other top teams lost too. Should they still be number one?
They should probably still be number one, I think, but I would be willing to hear arguments for other teams. Like I think I came on one of our previews the other day, and I was like, I mean, is there an argument for North Carolina to be the number one team in the country? And they're like six right now, seven. So, with all the losses happening left and right, there's a lot of arguments to be made.
Okay. Yeah, there was a tweet. I think it was Craig Bowers going back and forth on UConn's resume. To me, UConn's the only other team at the top that you could argue jumping up right now after this week. Otherwise, you just got to keep Purdue there. In your heart, though, do you believe they're the best team in the country? Whether or not they're ranked number one, do you believe this is the best team in college basketball?
No, I don't think so. I think I still would lean Arizona personally. And yes, I know this Purdue team beat Arizona. I understand that. This Arizona team lost to Stanford. Also very understandable. I would still take Arizona, I think, right now.
Okay,
I think
that
I think
seems
Purdue's got
reasonable.
some very, very little very little microscopic demons that I like to see them just get a little quick little get out of here.
That seems like a little bit of a shift for you because I think we've both been on record that Purdue is the best team in the country, and now you're off the bandwagon. It sounds
I mean, they're still one of the best teams in the country. Like
one of. It's a lot different than the best, though. You keep saying that it's a lot different.
they're like one of three best teams in the country. It's like to me right now, it's them, UConn, and North Carolina. I think those and oh sorry, Arizona's before.
So what scared you most in the Nebraska loss to get you fully saying this?
That they're not able to win a basketball game where the other team's making shots.
Okay.
And I don't want to dive in like full body language thing though, like what you did, but I think there's actually serious like issues that could maybe occur down the road on how this team kind of operates. I saw a lot of frustration. Obviously, you're gonna be frustrated when you lose. You should be. You probably want your team to be frustrated instead of just acting like it's nothing. But just I'm monitoring. I'm the hall monitor of Sleepers Media. I got a couple stations, couple teams that I just got on in the background. I'm keeping an eye on. It could
Okay.
easily go away. You could easily get off Carter monitor status. It could go away in one game.
Hmm.
But when you're on it, you're on it.
I think it is going to go away in one game for a couple reasons. Brian Ralph, shout out Brian Ralph, who does a bunch of these previews and recaps with us on the Sleepers Media channel. For Heat Check, he did his Ralph report, and there's a big paragraph, or more than a paragraph, there's a report on Purdue's defense. Why is Purdue's defense, well, their numbers are sliding a little bit? Why? What's happening? They're down to 17th on KenPom defensively. Well, the answer is that they've been stellar defensively at home, and they've been just fine defensively away from home. This game's in Mackey Arena, so they should be okay. But go read the Ralph report on it because there are some very interesting numbers. Basically, they're 68th adjusted defensive efficiency in away games, and they're ninth in the country adjusted defensive efficiency at home. So they got to find something there. It's a small sample size, of course, only played 3 games, Northwestern, Maryland, and Nebraska. But remember, one of those teams is Maryland. So if your defensive numbers don't look good in one of the 3 games, the small sample size is Maryland, they might get worse, not better. We'll see. The one thing that's interesting matchup wise in this game, the only reason I'll give Penn State any shred of like maybe this gets a little interesting is Penn State is very, very, very good at turning teams over. Like that's essentially all they do. That's how Mike Rhodes wants to play. He did it at VCU. Now he's doing it at Penn State. And they have personnel to do it, right? Like Ace Baldwin, tough defensive point guard. Kanye Clary has really emerged as a really good guard in this league. Two-way guard. He can get in your shit. He can fill it up offensively. If Braden Smith and Lance Jones are not on their like clean cut game here, like I guess locked in for lack of a better word, if they're just like rolling the ball, like, we're Purdue, we're playing Penn State, we're going to roll. I think those guys could struggle with turning the ball over because we've seen them do it before. And this is a team that has the personnel to actually make life tough on those two guys, I think. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Ace Baldwin, if I'm not mistaken, at least the last time I looked, I think he was actually leading the Big Ten in steals. He averages just over like 2.5 a game. He's very good defensively. You said the same about Kanye Clary. And look, we have sung Braden Smith's praises all offseason and early on in the season with his play. With that said, if if my memory is what it is, and sometimes it isn't, so don't just jump all over me. When's like the last like Braden Smith just like him playing to the level that he can play type game.
Ooh.
He's kind of been, I mean, they've had some bad teams in that span that they played, and you're like, okay, he's just kind of he's out there. They're playing Jacksonville, they're playing those type of teams. Okay, he has 8 in whatever minutes he plays. But like, when's the last Braden Smith just like doing what he can do?
It was Arizona,
And when was that?
December 16th.
That's over.
Yeah,
That's over a month. It's
let me
over a
read
month ago.
let me read some lines for Braden. Now, he's such a phenomenal passer
I
that
know,
I
I
think,
know, I know. I feel bad saying it because he's so good. Like I'm not saying he's
yeah,
playing bad what by any means or any stretch of the imagination. Like he could be putting up what Tyler Kolek's been doing the past 2 games. What I'm saying is that Braden Smith can be putting up lines and game stats that are reminiscent of an All-American guard, and I don't think it's been that for the past month.
for sure. I want to just read some of his logs just to make your point here. And I think I might have a conclusion on it. After the Arizona game, he had back-to-back games against Alabama and Arizona that were incredible. Then they're home against Jacksonville. He goes 2 points and 6 assists in 23 minutes. Then they're home against Eastern Kentucky. He goes 7 points, 8 assists, 3 turnovers in 24 minutes. Then they're on the road at Maryland. He goes 14 points, 6 assists, 4 turnovers, though. Then they're back at home against Illinois, 14.6 assists, 4 turnovers again. On the road at Nebraska, 10.7 assists. Like those are fine. Those are good. Definitely like most teams would kill for a point guard that does that.
I
But
would.
we expect so much of Braden Smith and we know what he's capable of that those feel like average at best games, if not worse. And I think you might have a point here, Car. He's a big game guy, I think. Like we believe he's a big game guy, maybe just not like a final 4 minutes of the game in a sweaty big game guy. But I think he typically plays his best against good opponents. Maybe that little the back-to-back of Jacksonville, Eastern Kentucky kind of, we talked about it like he's just going to get everybody else involved. Did that like really flip things mentally for him that may have had lingering effects?
Yeah, I mean, those numbers are okay numbers. Those are like AJ Hogarth numbers. He's better than that.
He's a lot better than that.
He's a lot better than that.
He's a lot better than that. Okay. So while I sit here and try to make it seem like Penn State's going to make this a game, I still have a really hard time seeing that come to fruition in Mackey Arena. Penn State's not a good shooting team. They shoot 29% from 3-point range as a team. We know Purdue shoots the ball incredibly well from home. I think you're going to need to see like 15 to 20 turnovers from Purdue to keep Penn State hanging around in this game. And they don't really do that much at home. Like Purdue has been good, if not very good, at avoiding turnovers, especially in Mackey Arena. The one thing I'm most curious about, we talked about a lot in the Nebraska recap, what's going to happen with Fletcher Lawyer in this game? He got benched to start the second half. You would assume this is like a get right game for everybody, but what do you think anything different is going to be visibly noticeable from Fletcher Lawyer in this game, good or bad?
No, I don't think so. The only thing I'm interested in is maybe the dialogue surrounding it, because at least to the Boiler fans that I've talked to and heard from, it seems to be like they're so ready to just kind of throw Fletch to the side and be like Heidi time. Like Heidi's playing well, Heidi's doing this, Heidi's doing that. And like I stated on the past Purdue video, I just don't think that has to be a one-for-one correlation. Heidi's minutes can still be played, but it doesn't have to be the expense of Fletch. But I think it would go a long way to see Fletch get it going in this game and not have some type of benching that occurs. And I think he will get, like, Fletch is good. Fletch is going to knock down shots. That's what he does, especially in Mackey. So I expect for him to have a bounce back game. Another thing that might worry me a little bit, I know we love to play the look ahead spot game. They travel to Assembly Hall Tuesday. Is there any like overlook vibes? Like we're looking forward to that game, or is Indiana that bad?
There definitely is, because Purdue wants payback against Indiana, right? Like it's a big game in the sense that like y'all got us twice last year. We need to get you back. So
Right.
I do think they probably are already preparing for Indiana. Now I trust Matt Painter and staff enough that they can look ahead while also being locked in and take care of business against Penn State. But it definitely is a trappy spot in that sense. Ken Palm has Purdue by 20. So I think even if it's trappy, all that means in my head is like this game goes from a 25-point win to like an 18-point win.
Right.
What's your prediction? What's the final score here? What does Purdue do?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a fairly easy game, and I think they're gonna be clicking pretty well offensively. I think it's gonna be more so Penn State's pressure is gonna lead to easy baskets more so than it leads to like turnovers for Penn State. So I'm gonna go Purdue by 6. No, I'm kidding. It's always going to team by 6. No, I say Purdue wins this game. I say they cover that Ken Palm spread. I think they win this game by 20 or more points.
Okay. I feel the same. I think it's a pissed off Purdue at home team. They get rolling before Indiana. Just a couple miniature predictions for me in this one. Zach Edey is the leading scorer in this game. He goes crazy. We finally see a great Zach Edey game for the first time in a while. Braden Smith, 0 turnovers. Fletcher Lawyer, 4 threes in this game, and he has 0 rotation issues, 0 benching issues. I think we're going to see the big 3 for Purdue. And yes, I'm considering it a big 3 with Fletcher Lawyer as the third. I think Purdue fans should consider it that as well. That's no disrespect to Lance Jones, but this team goes where those 3 guys take them. It's Zach Edey, it's Braden Smith, it's Fletcher Lawyer. You need them. You need them locked in and operating at their best together. If you get that, you are the best team in the country. I think tonight you see it, and they look like the best team in the country. Purdue by 27 is my formal prediction. All right, we will have a preview of Purdue, Indiana up on the channel for next week. We will have a recap of Purdue and Penn State up on the channel at some point. It's kind of a disaster this weekend, just a warning, Purdue fans, because we're both going to be at the Lions playoff game on Sunday, and that's normally when we do a lot of our previews and recaps. So bear with us. We'll get the coverage of your team coming back on the channel very soon. Click subscribe so you don't miss any of it. Boiler up, and congrats on that 1974 NIT championship.